Welcome to our show, true stories of ordinary people experiencing the miraculous. Unexplainable visions, divine interventions, extraordinary twists of fate that forever change the course of a human life in a positive way. These are what have turned many people into believers of miracles. And after you see our first story, you might become a believer too. For George and Jill Fuji of Gardnerville, Nevada, owning their own business has meant more than financial security. Their martial arts studio has afforded them the luxury of having their kids right there with them every day after school.
We have a great opportunity. We get to take our children with us to work. We're really close.
Come in here and help me, fellas.
Like every family, the Fujis had a daily routine.
We take two vehicles, but we usually all leave at the same time.
Part of the family routine included George asking his stepdaughter, Tave Kukoff, and stepson, Shane Miller, if they wanted to ride with him. George always asked, and the kids always had the same answer.
Okay, who's coming with me? Come with me.
No, I want to go with Mama.
Okay.
Well, after we close the studio up and we decide who gets to go with who,
See you guys at home.
I go with my mom.
My daughter always rides with me. She rides in the back. She always rides kind of adjacent from us, and so I can see her and look that way. So we communicate on the way home, or we sing, and we have a good old time.
But one night, their ritual was about to change.
He asked, why don't you ride with me tonight?
Go with me, Bowie.
Okay.
Here, come on.
Talia decided to go with my stepdad, which is pretty weird because she always goes with my mom.
It's like pulling teeth to get Tave, especially, to go with Papa. So that was kind of interesting that one night.
Something inside me told me to go with him. So I just went with him, and my brother went with my mom.
We were coming home. George was behind us, and my son Shane and I were just talking about wrestling and things that he needed to do. And it was just like every other day going home from work.
As we approached the intersection 1 block from our house, my wife was maybe 150 yards in front of me, and out of the corner of my right eye, I see lights. And there was a stop sign which was taken down by vandals, so the person coming down this road, he was just coming at an incredible rate of speed. There's going to be an impact. You could see it coming. The intense emotion that I felt at that moment of just, they're going to be killed. Jill's car just literally spun and flipped and rolled, I don't know how many times, landed on its wheels, but when I pulled up there, my lights are right on the car, destroyed, wife laying on the ground. And your heart literally stops.
I wake up in the middle of flying through the air. I land on the ground, and I remember looking up, and the car was still spinning, head over tail. Then there was dead silence.
I jumped out and ran out there to my wife's side to see if she was, what kind of shape she was in. I didn't get any response from her. Ran over to see how my son Shane was doing. I said, "Are you all right?" He said, "I think I'm okay." And so I went right back to her. My training as first aid and, CPR, paramedic stuff, they tell you you never touch anybody. So do I take the last few moments with my wife? Do I pull her over? Do I look into her eyes? Do I speak to her?
When he came up to me saying, oh my God, she's dead, she's dead. He was just really upset. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm dead.
A neighbor offered to take Tave inside her home to shield the frightened little girl from further trauma.
Hi, oh, come on, honey, it's okay, baby, come on.
East Fork Fire and paramedics arrived on the scene. EMT Shona Olson and a friend of the Fuji family was prepared for the worst.
When we drove up,
My gear started turning, and I think my jaw pretty much hit the floor. This was honestly one of the worst accidents I've been on. The chances of them walking away from such an accident were slim to none.
Can we get her on the backboard? We're gonna roll her over.
Jill was flown by helicopter to a nearby hospital.
When they loaded me in the helicopter, I really felt that I was going to die. That's when I really thought about my grandmother who raised me and Maggie, George's mom. I thought that I'm going to see them. They're going to be there to come get me. I know I'm going to see them. I was at peace.
After an hour and a half, Shane was finally freed from the car and transported to the hospital.
They went in for CAT scans, neck and spine x-rays. One of the most miraculous things of the whole thing was no stitches, no broken bones, no internal injuries.
It basically defies what we're taught in school. I think someone upstairs also had a big hand in it too.
This happened at 9 o'clock. At 1 o'clock in the morning, we went home. The same night we were released from the hospital, so that is miraculous to me.
The doctors were totally amazed that we had no injuries other than the cuts and bruises and broken teeth. I was thankful to be alive, and I was also looking at life through different eyes that day and from that day forward.
I was very, very close to my mother, and my wife, Jill, was very, very close to her grandmother who raised her. They both passed away a few months before that, and we both feel really strongly that they had something to do with, making sure that they didn't die that night.
I know in my heart that somebody was watching over us that night, and because I had those thoughts of them, I feel that it was them. There were miracles written all over that night. The other driver of the car should have been dead, and he's alive.
The following day, two grateful parents were struck by the impact of Tave's surprising decision to ride with George the night before.
The day after, next morning, I took my video camera to take a look at the vehicle, and it was just completely destroyed. It's a miracle they lived. Just looking at the damage of the vehicle, then I look into the position where the main impact was, where my daughter usually sits, and it was at that moment that I realized that how bad she would have been injured if she was in the vehicle.
Something inside me told me I had to stay on this planet and go with Papa because I still had to accomplish something. The guardian angels helped my mom and my brother through the night, and those guardian angels are probably watching over us right now.